All right, it's 4 o'clock, Wednesday, March 6, 2024. We're going to start the Town of Sangerville Selectboard meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2, open session. We got guests. I imagine you gentlemen want to speak?
As you're probably aware, we have, Dennis and I, part of the committee on what to do with the old town hall building. We have collected numerous estimates on repairing the building. We're lacking a couple. Really need an entrance to the building to do that. We have a brick mason that's he's licensed, bonded, insured to do that, but needs a town employee to go in with him, I assume. We'd like permission to collect the last estimate that we need from you guys.
Where do we stand on the roof? Do you know on that?
Excuse me?
The roof.
Well, I
I know you were working with Patrick on that.
I was working with Patrick on it. I can tell you what I know, which isn't everything. We've been up on the roof, but there was snow on it. It appears that it's leaking in the valley on the north side, on the dormer. It's in Slate Valley. If it were down on the ground where I could get at it, I could fix that in a day's time for about $150 and be done with it. But getting to it is the problem. I have contacted a couple of outfits. One roofing company out of Bangor said they're booked up until fall on slate work. Another company said they would not give me an estimate, they would do it time and materials only. I inquired to rent a lift to get up there. An 80-foot lift with a jib on it is $1,100 a day, plus $700 trucking, plus insurance. The lift cost alone, you're getting into $4,000, $4,500, which is not including any labor of fixing it. The biggest problem is getting there, it's not fixing it. It's not a big issue to fix it probably, but the rest of the roof looked pretty good from what we could see. There's rubber membrane on the flat part that looks in good shape. The slate is not bad. It's probably most likely backing up and coming up underneath the slate in that valley when there's snow and ice on it.
Have you been in?
Yeah,
Is it leaking still?
no. You're talking north end, you're talking the Dexter side, correct?
This side, towards the parking lot.
Okay, so there was no leaks on that side except for the chimney. The flashing is pulled away from the chimney and you can look right out through.
That's correct.
And on the Dexter side, you've got 2 or 3 holes. You can look right out through. Not huge holes. Something's moved, either a piece of slate missing or something's happened over there. The membrane looks in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
But it's that side over here, there's 2 holes, I got pictures, and around the chimney.
Where the water was coming in, if you look at where there's the ceiling, where the drop ceiling is put in, you
Yes.
look where the water has come down on that. It's
Yeah.
right under this dormer
Yeah.
on this north side.
But it was all completely dry when I was up there.
Right. I think the only time that valley is leaking is when there's ice and snow up there.
So back up.
So we're,
Back up.
so we got a while before we don't worry about that again, hopefully.
Water's not pouring in now.
No.
We had
it's
an
not
issue that was,
It's not pouring in right now. It was during, Patrick went in after one of those big
Yep.
storms and there was ice on the floor upstairs.
yeah, he said, because we had a cold snap after the rain, and he said it was like a hockey rink in there.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the concern, was we just didn't want to have further deterioration, water coming in. If we can get someone to tighten that up, we should do that, for sure. And that was the whole original purpose for going in,
Right.
because I knew you had a background in roofing and
Yep.
Patrick.
you know, it's not uncommon to see a little daylight out through a slate roof once in a while. There's obviously no membrane underneath that.
Right.
Sure.
And of course, the ideal thing would be to pull all that slate off and put some membrane or something underneath it, which is a bigger job, but,
I'm surprised it looked in relatively good shape.
And that brings us to the brick mason. The south side chimney is the one that's leaking. And it's leaking with a flashing,
Yeah.
goes in between the brick.
Is that what you need the mason to come in with, to fix
To
the?
to look at that and the dormer area, I mean, not the dormer, the bulkhead area.
yeah, and the foundation and the bulkhead, some of the brickwork that
And,
needs to be there.
and do you have an engineer's plan so that you're following up an engineer's plan for all of this? For, you know, for a comprehensive plan, so you know what you're doing.
We are looking at a fix to pour a wall, concrete wall around the inside, the perimeter inside, to hold the entire perimeter with rebar pinned to the floor. It's an engineered system that they have.
For this problem,
That will.
For what problem?
for the problem the foundation has.
Right, but you guys haven't gotten an engineering firm to come in and spec all this out or anything yet?
We had the company come in that sells this product.
We know that the walls are pushed in several spaces, several places, up to 4 or 5 inches. We can see that. We've had engineer firms, you've had carpenter and then somebody else.
Right.
Okay, this is an engineered system designed particularly to fix problems exactly like that.
So you're dovetailing with what Carpenter said. I mean, you're making sure that what, you know, that all of the what you're talking about is dovetailing with an engineer that is gonna come in and then certify all the work.
I don't know that any engineer would certify. They have it certified, they will give a 25-year warranty on their product, which should be adequate. There's
That's
brickwork.
about what it lasted last time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only, I'm not trying to, but that's why we're here, is we spent all this money, we didn't follow the engineering firm's plans.
The brickwork needs to be repaired in addition to doing the inside walls, because there's
Right.
several places that cracked and, you know.
Right.
So that's what the mason's coming in to do, is just to look at.
An estimate on the brickwork and that south side chimney. And the foundation company that came in, this is an engineered product for this problem.
Right, but we haven't had an engineer that say to any of us, here's the way to fix it, and then find someone to do that. No one,
Like dovetailing, typically, I'm an engineer. And what happens is you go in and you do all of the inspection work, right? And you write up a comprehensive plan of what needs to be done. And it's all based on numbers. It's not like, oh, that looks like it needs it. It's all based on load and all, you know, all of that. And then you'd get your mason in, and the mason would come to me and say, okay, so what is the engineering plan that you have? And then the mason would give the estimate based on my plan. Because I'm the one that has to stand here 100 years from now, 25 years from now, and say it was my plan. And the reason why it's failing is because of my plan, not because of the mason that didn't do the work right. So I don't know how you're getting estimates without an engineer dovetailing with all, I mean, it's one thing, you know, repairing a floor in here or whatever it may be, but this is a massive job. And we do have an engineer's, you know, the beginning of it. Actually, this is what we had done, to get a comprehensive plan. I forget, Mike, what was the number that we got? It's not listening.
well, if we wanted to know what a full restoration might approximately cost, that was gonna be a $40,000 engineering review to do that, which I'm under the impression that you guys have collected your signatures.
We have.
So we haven't seen the question yet, but congratulations on that, because that's not an easy thing to do, so. But if we were going to repair that building, that's exactly what we would have an article that said, we'd like $40,000. That was one engineering firm. We probably would get a couple different engineering firms to quote it, but so that we could see what the actual cost of the project would be. We would do that before we would, now, obviously, we'd patch a leaky roof,
Oh, absolutely.
no
yeah.
problem. But we would do
if-
that before we would even fix the foundation. If we're gonna go all in with this thing, if we're gonna spend 200 years worth of savings, we wanna know what the real project is.
Right.
So, and then from there, you have masons and carpenters and bricklayers and they're all gonna follow the instructions that the civil engineer.
And I'll tell you something, the other thing that happens many times that works the best is having the engineering firm that has then all their subcontractors. Because they all work together. Because many times what happens in these projects is you get a plumber in and the plumber does the work. And then you get another contractor, another whatever it may be, comes behind them and says, geez, I wish you hadn't done that because now that's in my way. And then either you're redoing what the plumber did because they're not talking to each other, and you don't have that comprehensive plan of the engineer knowing the entire project. The mason doesn't know what the woodworker's doing, and the mason doesn't care what the woodworker, and the plumber doesn't care what the electrician's doing, and all of that type of stuff. Whoever gets in there first, it's open real estate, and they do what they want to do, and then you get issues where they haven't. Then you're redoing things, and then it costs more money. And I'm just trying to help you, just trying to share that this is what happens. So, doing it piecemeal doesn't save money by any means, because.
And your petition has an amount on it. You had an amount of money on it, right? So that, you're not gonna change that.
No,
Because if you change it, you gotta redo the petition.
that's correct.
So you guys are done for now. You did the work. We haven't read the question. We may have an attorney look at it, but I haven't seen it.
I've
But
got it for you tonight.
we will get to see it.
That's part of
But
it.
it looks like you're gonna be on the warrant.
Okay.
I mean, unless there's some anomaly, but like I said, we haven't seen it. So you have a number. You can't change it.
We still need some more estimates.
If this passes at town meeting, you're gonna have all kinds of estimates.
How do you have a number if you don't have your estimate? That's just a question.
Because the request says up to.
Right, and nobody's addressed the full project.
Well, I guess that's an opinion.
Well, I mean, do you have an estimate on what the full project would be?
We're getting close to it.
But that's not a civil engineer hasn't,
No?
okay.
Oh, okay. That's one way of going about it.
But this is, Dale, this is very much kind of like repeating history.
Yeah, I mean, we've done this. We got an engineer report, we had the work done on that.
Not following the
The
engineer's
committee
report.
that worked on it then decided
Said-
not to
said they
follow
knew
the
better.
engineer's report. They made changes in the design, we spent 400,000, 500, whatever it was. A lot of money to fix that, and we have nothing.
We literally have nothing.
So all of that 400,000 or 500,000 we spent, basically, is garbage. I mean,
No, not really.
well, it is. I mean, you have a building that you need to redo.
It was a failure. I mean,
Well-
it barely lasted 20 years. And so that's not something that we would want to repeat, I don't think.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I would be all behind it if you were, and maybe you are going to, in the end, follow, get a comprehensive firm, engineering firm to oversee the entire project. I mean, I'd be, and then follow to the letter of the law what the firm is saying. so that it's built to last.
And 20 years ago, the building had a lot more utilization. I mean, we had a library, there was still people going upstairs, it was, it was, now we're literally gonna put 2 ladies in it 4 days a week, if you guys are successful. So it's a totally different situation than it was 25 years ago. So I guess, I don't know, I don't see a point in
Yeah, I
bringing
mean,
electricians and masons, and you have a number, you can't change it, or you could change it, but you're not gonna change it. So,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you're not gonna start the work until the article is on, and if it passes, right? So there, I mean.
we can't.
Right. No.
Other than the leaky roof.
So there's no need to get any more, I mean, if you have your up to number, then that's your number. So.
Does that make sense?
It does and it doesn't, that's your guys' call, I mean,
Well, you're not gonna change the number, right? You're, what was it, $440,000. You're not gonna change it. We're not gonna start any work until after town meeting. So, I guess there's no real urgency or even necessity, is there?
I don't think so.
I don't see where there is.
I mean, unless there is something that needs to be fixed, for example, the roof, if it's leaking yesterday and
Absolutely.
today, then those are things that we have to do. We've
Within
got to.
limits.
Yeah.
If it's too expensive, we would have to wait. I mean,
Yeah, because we don't have our budget passed.
correct.
But those sorts of things, if what you're talking about with the mason fixing around a chimney, if it's leaking down, those are things that we would fix for sure.
that does need to be addressed, the north side, the south side chimney.
Yep, and it sounds like Jeff's already been looking at it. If there's a reasonable solution, bring it to us, and if the money's right, we'll fix it. So,
Is that something we can talk about, seeing you've seen it, you know a little bit about it?
perfect.
So, we've collected signatures on a petition. The sentiment from the town seems to be about the same as it was at the last special meeting we had. Because the town wants to fix a building. We're trying to figure out a way to do that. And, we talked to probably over 300 people, and with just a handful not wanting to fix the building, everybody else was overwhelmingly wanting to fix the building. Which, my concern with this whole thing is, to this point, the town of Sangerville has not had the opportunity to vote to keep that building.
Well, you just accomplished that.
I just opened the door with it, that's the point of doing the whole thing.
But the town of Sangerville never voted to do away with the building either.
And that wasn't
I
even,
understand that.
Right, so it's never been in jeopardy.
And we've never said that we didn't think the townspeople wanted to fix the building.
didn't want to fix it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Our stance is that from what I'm hearing, and I'm still hearing after this, that there's more townspeople that would like to see the building fixed, but don't want it to be fixed at the town's expense.
I even got that impression.
Well, that was where we were 8 weeks ago. In fact, both of you were on that side of the issue. You agreed that a 2-building solution was the solution. And we were gonna seek congressional funds to get an office that was the proper size. I mean, that building's 10x what we need. And you both agreed that the nonprofit was the way to go, and we were gonna have a committee to advance that process. And I'm not just picking, you weren't the only ones, but then
I don't think I ever
you guys
agreed.
reneged.
I don't think I ever agreed with that, but I did.
No, you did. I have it. It's on recording.
Let's discuss it. What I agreed to was, it sounds like a very good option, and the people need to have that option in front of them. They need to have this option in front of them too.
Yeah, but
And
you agreed it was the
wanted-
logical thing to do.
Oh, I called for the meeting so that people would have that option in front of them, thinking we were gonna have the other 2 options in front of them at the same time. the Robinsons building and this building.
That's interesting. I've listened to 11.6 several times, and the Robertson's building was never considered because it didn't make any sense relative to the congressional funding, and you agreed to that.
I don't think it does make sense compared to congressional funding. The Robinsons, I don't personally want the
Well,
Robinsons building for a town hall, but I still think, in the people we've talked to, there are people that do, so they need to have that choice put in front of them. That's what I'm saying.
That may happen.
Yep.
I think that the warrant needs to give the people the option. The new congressionally delegated funds bill, the A. Robinsons move, and this building. But to do that, you have to have something for numbers, which is what we're trying to accomplish. And what we're looking at for scope on this building is not a complete renovation. What we're looking for is to make the building insurable and inhabitable on the first floor again, so that we can use it for what it was being used for. Not a full-on restoration of the upstairs and the whole elevator and all the whole 9 yards there.
So it's not gonna be historically renovated, you're not renovating it historically, you're not, or I should say, are you renovating it, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Are you?
We wanted to make it usable, so the town can get back into it, pretty up a couple of things, put some new flooring in and a little paint and some other things, but basically address the issues that were on the engineer's report, or the insurance report.
Right, but the linkage between that building and town office operations versus congressionally funded build, you guys both agreed that it would make no sense.
Oh, I agree.
In the beginning, I thought that, and that was thrown at us in the middle of our second to last town hall committee meeting, and since that happened, I'm a homework person, and I went and did my homework on this congressionally delegated funds. And the things I found, I'm not that impressed with.
Can you share with us what you're not impressed with?
What I'm not impressed with is, if you go through the program to do a federal build, you're gonna have federal level engineers, you're going to have federal contractors, you're going to have, everything is gonna be done outside of our community.
And that's not true. You have contractors in this community that do federal bid work.
You've got a contractor doing a federally funded build in Corinna right now. He's a local boy.
Employing a lot of local people.
Yeah, he's doing it right now.
So
So that's,
I looked at some of the federal builds that have been done. What do you think the price tag is gonna be on 1,100 square foot building to do a federal?
we already got a number,
What is your number?
400 grand.
Yep.
We got that number.
So why is it so much more for other communities that have built the same size building?
They're building much bigger buildings. The project in Milo is over $6 million.
Right.
It's a much bigger building. The Greenville project is
I'm not
is
comparing
fire.
those things.
No, but I'm saying, those are, I think that's an $8 million project. I was a tiny little project. And the estimate was 80% or 85%, if we qualified, would come back to the town.
Right.
So on that bill that you're talking about, our responsibility is 400 grand or the whole building's 400 grand?
No. The whole building
The
was
whole
going to
building,
be
400
400
grand.
grand.
And we get back roughly 85 cents on the dollar, so you're gonna spend 15 times 4. So for 60,000 bucks, the town would end up with a brand new building. That is super efficient, all of the pleasantries that you would want, right size. And ironically enough, we'd get most of our 400,000 back. So then if you wanted to talk about saving, we could do both. But you don't want the cart in front of the.
Right, and the purpose of the special town meeting was to have the vote so that we could go and apply for the congressional money. That was the purpose of the meeting. It wasn't to have three choices.
That's correct.
That's-
You're exactly correct.
Yeah, that was the only purpose of that meeting, so
And
what
you knew the timeline because we wanted to get
In
it
this
into the
tranche.
March bucket.
Yeah, and we've lost that
Fans.
And you literally picked a date. So, which
For the
was a
town
perfect
meeting.
date.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we lost this whole year of the ability to apply for that money. And, personally, I think it's a shame. I think it was an
But I don't
opportunity for our town. And I've also had a lot of people looking at towns around us and saying, why didn't Sangerville? Why didn't Sangerville? What's wrong with Sangerville? Why? And it's because it didn't.
You know, these projects, you said, and I actually compliment you on this because you said the way you were approaching this was emotionally. It's how you feel about it. And the way we were looking at it was logical. That's not something that people will, and I respect you for saying that.
It's the truth.
I know it is the truth. I've listened to some of your meetings and I can tell how passionate you are. You definitely believe and feel the way you feel.
Right.
But we can't run a town
On feelings.
on feelings.
I understand that.
We
but
have to be logical.
The problem that we have is, I'm not the only one that feels that way.
No, I
There's about
know that.
300 other people right behind me that feel exactly the same way. And this may not be financially the best option.
Or it could be a financial disaster, but it still doesn't mean it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you had a petition that said we want to buy $500,000 worth of lottery tickets, we might not be able to stop you. But if we have a chance to get Sangerville a brand new modern building for 60 grand, and people don't want to do that out of spite,
Right,
I don't
then
think it's
it's
spite.
what would it be then?
I don't think.
based on feelings? We don't run the town based on feelings.
Based on feelings, I don't think.
Then what,
I don't know, there's 300 people that think the same way I do.
I get that, I mean,
And here's the bottom line. What you guys do, what we do, what we're doing with our committee, we are steered by the opinion of the people, and I think that's the opinion of the people. And we need to listen to it, and we need to figure out how to get through it together.
well, then that to me is, what an opportunity to get the town squared away for 60 grand. And now you still have this big bucket of money that maybe we could develop the nonprofit, maybe, but if we spend, it took us 200 years to save this money. If we spend this on this building again, I don't think people 20 years from now are gonna look back and say, we did now they might see, their hearts were in the right place, but
I think best for the town.
it isn't not, they're gonna be, and I can promise you, it isn't just you guys that want in on this money. Everywhere the county wants our money, the school wants our money, it isn't gonna be pretty.
and there's other things that are requesting money that would,
Well, and that's the other thing for me. I understand what you're saying. You got 300 signatures for a petition, so you're going under that assumption that you have 300.
We've had 300 conversations with these people.
No, I understand that, but we also have a lot of people every year that can't pay their taxes. And lose property every year because they can't pay their taxes. So that's the other side that we have to look at. When you start talking about being financially responsible, you have to think about all those people that can't afford to even pay their way right now.
And I interpreted the congressionally delegated funds as being a maybe, not a definitely too.
No,
The research
it wasn't
on it.
it wasn't, in fact, we were pretty clear that, the more committed we were to the project, the more likely we were to get the money.
Right.
Just asking, please, you weren't very likely to get it.
and that's why we were honest when we wrote the article, in that if we didn't get the money, this is what it's going to cost to build the building. Many towns just went ahead and applied for the money and didn't tell their citizens, what it was gonna cost them. And so we felt it was the right thing to do to say, well, we'd like to get the money, but if we don't get it, this is what we have gone to an engineering firm, and this is, it's all informed. We know 100% what it's gonna cost, this is what it's gonna cost. So we felt that we were honest with the town as far as how we approached it.
And even if we didn't get a penny, if they didn't give us 1 penny, it still makes more logical sense to build a new building than to throw $500,000 into that.
I was with you on that, and I still agree.
So that's
the financial smart.
We haven't changed.
The smart thing to do financially. I agree with that. I expect that most of us here are parents. And I can tell you that was not the smart thing to do financially. We wanted kids, and we had them, but financially it was not a good decision. And the people of the town want that building. And I agree that it's not a financially good decision. But that's what they want.
Well, they don't really even know yet what it's gonna cost to save it.
Well, that's what we've been working on, and I think our figures are pretty good, because I don't have an engineer's degree, or any of us have an engineer's degree to say we can do this. I built buildings bigger than that.
I think the problem is, there's this attempt to link the essential service of a town office to that building, so that the building is saved with that mechanism.
I don't agree with that. I think
It's
that,
the only logical reason for you to do it that way.
I don't agree with that. In this collection of signatures and talking to the people in the town and physically sitting down and having conversations with them, they don't just want to save the building. They want that to be the hub of our municipality. And
It's,
that is the sentiment that we got, collecting our signatures. That's what the people want.
how big's the foundation? I know I've heard,
48 by 80,
like 3,600 square feet.
right?
So the foundation alone, you could put in 3 town offices. The first floor, you could put in 3 more. The second floor, you could put in 3 more.
The office, the hallway, and the community room were usually 1,900 and something.
Right, but the hallway itself could be a town office.
Yeah.
It's a 10X.
Pretty close.
It's easily, one balcony could be a town office. It's easily a 10X building. If you needed a 2-car garage, would you build a 20-car garage?
If I could afford it, I would.
Well, there
No,
you go,
wouldn't,
bingo,
though.
bingo.
If we needed a
Not if
3-bay
he's gonna
fire
heat it.
station, would we build a 30-bay fire station? Even, I mean, if you want 2 kids, do you have 20? That's what it just doesn't.
I understand that, and one of the things I disagree with what you're saying on this level, I think building a building for 3 women to sit in that's big enough to go in and turn around and use a bathroom and go back out is not filling all the needs for our municipality. I mean,
Fortunately, that's not the plan that we had.
No,
Right.
bumming space off the church to have town meetings and
Yeah.
go vote, I don't think is what we should be doing with the municipality.
I think actually,
Well,
I'm
that's-
sorry, I shouldn't interrupt, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yes, your body language.
Sorry.
Different inside joke. No,
Sorry,
I
I'm sorry,
think the
Jeff.
church
I
does a
apologize.
great job. They donate to the
And-
community room, and
Yeah,
it's a
and-
great venue, but it's better than the fire station.
You know, and talk about community, I mean, I think, I'm Jewish, I love walking in there and seeing what other people, oh, this is, so I think community-wise, I disagree with you, but that's fine, I mean, you disagree with me, so, but I disagree, I think it's nice to
You know, they won't even
share.
send us a bill. We've asked repeatedly,
They
just,
can't by law,
but, I
because they're
mean,
nonprofit.
if
They
they,
can still send you a bill being a nonprofit.
yeah, they
Yes,
could
they
bill.
can.
But
Sure they can.
Oh, or,
No, they don't want to.
They don't.
And they even do all the setup, and, I mean, they're very, and they don't ask for anything.
yeah, so anyway.
there
but
again,
I
back to what
apologize,
you just
I
said, though.
apologize.
How would you ever, even over here, to heat that big of a space or to build something that big, to have a town meeting once, maybe twice a year. I mean, that's crazy. You're back to building a 20-car garage because you need two. I mean, when you have that space, you have the high school, you have the Masonic Hall, there's so many venues around here that are more than adequate.
And if
For once a
we really
year.
wanna, if we really wanna do the luxury thing, we can build. We talked about this, basically double the project, 800 grand. We can seek congressional funds for that. And we can build a room big enough for town meeting that we're gonna use once a year. But we all agreed that that didn't make sense at that time. You agreed. So, I will, it's very difficult tackling a big project like this when you're working with people and everybody gives everybody a chance to talk. We invested a lot of hours this fall getting to where we got. And then people renege. They say, no, I never said that. Or, no, I don't want to do it. It's just a lot of work. And gets discouraging.
And the other thing too, probably one of the biggest things since I've been a selectman that I get asked as a request that we could ever change is online registrations. There's so many people now, lives are so busy, they don't even have time, they don't even want to go to that town office. They want to have that luxury to be able to do that from their home. So that's kind of the other piece, back to what you said, this small building and what the needs are. If that is gonna be the future trend, that's how more business is done, it even justifies getting into a smaller space even more.
But we don't need to beat a dead horse. You guys
No,
are.
no. And, you
I
know-
sincerely congratulate you because that's a lot of work. And
Yep.
Honestly, I just wanted to say something. I grew up in a town that's a historic town, and all the buildings in it are all historic, and they're all restored, and it's beautiful. And so I really value that. And the way I look at that building is if you're gonna do the work, I think it should be done historically perfect. And what we had talked about was a 501c3, and yeah, that's a lot of work, but it wouldn't have cost the town any money. And it would have been a tremendous, I mean, when Leslie was beginning to explain that very first meeting about what that would entail. You know, you're not going to your neighbor and asking for $100. You're going to the corporations in Boston and asking for, hundreds of thousands of
The
dollars.
Central Hall model, we all agreed
Exactly.
that was the way to go.
And so, I mean, so what I find a shame is doing any work on that building that's not historical. And and not having a plan, not having I guess that's my issue.
Plan, vision.
No comprehensive plan for the entire building. So just putting, as you said, a floor and paint and making so that we can have our municipal office in there. To me, I think that's a shame. I think if you're going to do it, don't have.
The day that the nonprofit is incorporated, I will happily donate the first
Same
$100.
here. Same here.
Happy.
Yep. Yes.
I would donate personally the first $100. I'd be happy to.
And I have a problem with if in fact, let's say we put X number of dollars in there, and right, and then you form a 501c3. So that means, right? Does that make any sense?
We want all the money, and then we want to take the building. That would.
Yeah.
that
So
doesn't seem-
we would then be giving the building to the 501c3, having spent $500,000, when it should from day one start with the proper. I don't know.
Well, that was the mission statement for the committee that
Right.
nobody wanted to do after.
That's what we wanted to
Everything.
do. Yeah.
That was
that's
the plan.
That was the plan. That, we get our town office built and then properly restore that building. So that's my final word, that it's a historic building. It should be restored historically and properly, so that it truly is something valuable. And that
that's a vision that I don't think, in talking with the people of town, it's one of the big hiccups that all of them seem to say is they feel like the minute that becomes a nonprofit, it is not the property of the town. And there's a lot of misinformation out there too, that people just don't understand what's going on, and they do not want to lose their town hall. And that's a problem.
The 501c3, it would be wonderful if you could do it in a hurry.
Well, you can't. That's, I mean,
You can't.
You can't do anything in a hurry, but that.
You're not
No
gonna-
way.
You're
No
not gonna
way.
fix that building in a hurry, anyway.
The building is sitting there without heat, without electricity. It's, we've got mold growing around in the cellar because there's no heat in there.
This building really duplicates the commons.
To take a,
Does.
to go with a 501c3, by the time you've set up a board and go through all the hoops, the fundraising, and you would be years.
years and years, 10 years. In
Yeah,
fact,
actually, it was,
10 years.
they were over 10 years.
10 years.
On Central Hall.
Down at Central
Yeah,
Hall.
And,
But they did it.
yeah, maybe it could be done.
And it was
And
done
maybe
top
it
to
couldn't.
bottom.
And maybe it couldn't. If it's not possible, it's unfortunate, but it's not possible.
It'll take quite a while to go through that, to jump all those hoops.
The other thing is, I know there's a real desire to get the liability insurance back so that then we could do operations there, but one thing that is kind of just blowing right past people is, we're not even close to getting comprehensive. So your first million might get you in there, but if something happens to the building, you just lose it all. Because you're not gonna get comprehensive coverage until you do a comprehensive plan. It would be just like
Right,
putting
so
a new
we-
addition on your house, but it's not insured anymore. You wouldn't do that. And we've been talking about liability insurance, but we haven't even dared to dream about comprehensive.
Right, so if it burned down the day after everybody moved in, you have no insurance. So liability insurance isn't gonna,
So those are the kinds of things
that we've been talking about
Yeah,
for 5-6 years.
yeah.
It's no different than it is right now.
correct, but we didn't pour
Exactly.
$500,000 in it this spring.
Right. Yeah, whatever your dollar amount on your petition, if you dump all that in there, we can't get comprehensive on it. It burns, that money's gone, again.
Yeah.
What is your reason thinking you're not gonna be able to get comprehensive on it once that work is done?
We didn't have comprehensive, and we still had liability. So if we do enough work to get our liability back, we still won't have comprehensive. We didn't have comprehensive before.
We lost the comprehensive.
Yes.
We lost it.
For
And
all
that-
of the things that are in that report.
Right, that's when we started publishing it in the town
We
report.
lost it because of the electrical and all the stuff listed in the report.
The sagging balconies, all
Right,
of the stuff.
Right, so all of those things would have to be fixed in order to get the comprehensive. So is it responsible to put that money in and not have comprehensive insurance?
No.
Some people would say, I don't care. But the three of us care.
We do.
And I know, I probably can come up with 300 people who would care. But admittedly, it's whoever shows up. So,
Back
But,
to your 50,000 lottery tickets.
yeah. Hey, it's funny, communities can do all kinds of things. We've got cities now that are wishing they weren't sanctuary cities, but at the time, they all felt really good about it. And now they're thinking, maybe we made a mistake. So there's no rule. People can vote in. Just because you have the votes doesn't mean it's necessarily the right thing, but you might prevail. So, and I don't mean specifically this project, I'm just saying in general.
in general. But it's, we care about that building, we do. I mean, I don't know what the sentiment or what the, word on the street is, but we care a lot about that building. And,
I've listened to some of the meetings, and it seems like a fair percentage of every single meeting is either mocking or disparaging the select board. That seems to be pretty common. We're exactly the same board
We
that
haven't
we were
changed.
all together with 8 weeks ago. We haven't changed. We haven't changed even 1 degree. So it's just, that's discouraging, so. Anything else?
That is it.
no, I have one thing.
Go ahead.
I want to deliver my annual complaint on my road.
Same here, same here.
I'll add one with you.
Oh,
yeah.
speaking of, well, we'll get to it, but we should swing that gate
You had
closed.
a plan that you were working on to fix.
I thought you got some gravel this year.
And you put a couple loads on okay, I can get through 60% of it. The other parts, it's a running start and four-wheel drive.
Which road?
South Sangerville.
Still
Range.
saying it.
He's right out, almost to the cemetery.
My road's great.
That's where Steve Cunningham lives on?
You make them.
Does Steve Cunningham live on the
No,
road?
Steve lives at.
He lives down past,
Okay.
all the way down to Newt's and then you
Yeah.
cut back.
The boat launch gate, we should get that closed.
Yes, I was gonna
Oh.
bring that
Yeah,
up too.
it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not getting any better, you know, it got some serious gravel in '76, and it's gotten a couple loads over the years since then, but
I'm gonna ask Chris, I thought he did put a fair amount of loads down there last
I
year.
don't know how many loads he put in, he might have been 3 or 4, I don't remember.
I thought
Did he
told
grade
me-
it? Did Chris grade it?
When they put the gravel down.
Yeah, I thought they did something over there.
I'm curious, I can't remember the number, Dennis, but I thought the way he made it sound, he was there for a while, so I just interpreted that his guy was hauling quite a few loads in there.
I don't know how many loads.
I'll ask Chris. I'm curious.
I can tell you it's not enough. Or it's not in the right places.
Oh, that's frustrating, yeah. Well, Jeff can address that.
Okay, item 3. Sign the minutes of the emergency meeting 2/26/24. Did we sign those already? Were they in front of me? when
Thank
I
you,
got
guys.
here?
Thank you.
Yeah, they're right there.
Item 4, review the treasurer's warrants, payroll 13, 14, accounts payable 15.
Make a motion to approve both.
Second.
All in favor?
That's a mess up.
We did the open session. Old business, Gould property, Derek Grant and Jamie Kluge check.
Yes, the check has gotten here, we've deposited it in your packets. You will see the costs that we have incurred up to date. We don't have the newest Orkin bill, for the rat infestation updated yet. The lawyer has been back and forth with me, you have also copies of that in your packet.
Oh, okay.
She has a couple different options that she could do. Her question would be, giving Mr. Gould some money in exchange for a quitclaim deed, or doing a point of sale purchase agreement with the new buyer, and send notice and wait 90 days to close. And it all goes back to that letter, or the new law. But she understands that now we have a situation where the rats are costing us a lot of money, and we really should get this taken care of. Jamie would like to get that building down before April 1st, because then she won't get taxed on the building.
Oh,
So that's the other fly in the ointment of things. So it's just a matter of.
So does she actually have the deed yet?
No,
Okay, well, she's not gonna pay taxes on it until,
that's true. That's true.
till it's hers.
Right, but she doesn't wanna file the deed March 31st, and their own is on the 31st, but the building's still there, you know what?
Under the circumstances, can we just waive that because of the situation? Meaning we could give her a 30-day to get the building down after the sale, knowing,
I believe so, but I'm not the assessor, that would be a Josh.
Hamlin would know.
Yeah.
Hamlin would know that question.
but that might be an easier way to do this.
And my guess is, if it's legal, he's gonna want us to sign off on it.
right,
Yep.
oh, yeah. Can you check on that?
I can, yeah, I can.
That's a good.
So,
sort
I
of
mean,
solution.
her
I think it'd be
recommendation,
easier.
there's a couple, I've highlighted them because my printer won't print in color for some reason. But yes, I can double check with that with Josh.
I think that's a good solution. Just give it. a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit
her
of
intention
breathing.
anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Breathing room, right?
Kinda want the rodent problem solved before you knock it down though.
Yeah,
They're going everywhere.
Yeah, they're finding the
And
next.
You're not
that's
gonna
just
solve
it,
it,
and
that's the problem.
No.
You're
You
not?
have the Bowley, is it Bowley?
They're just gonna go somewhere
At the
else.
end of the road down there, that's also got holes. And-
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that probably.
That's not actually Bowley's, right? That was sold.
Yeah, I don't know who owns.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Does someone live there in that house?
No,
It's vacant.
it's vacant.
Oh boy, that's not good. Wow.
Yep, and Jamie's tenant is moving out because of the rat situation. She paid a year in advance, so they owe her 7 months' worth of rent back.
Ouch.
Yeah, so that's where we are with the Gould property.
I mean, I would think whatever the lawyer says, how quickly can we get it done and just get it into their name by the sounds of it?
Yeah,
And then they
that's,
can get the building down and that cleans the rat problem up when they clean the,
yeah, they wanna, I don't know, they've got plans, it's not, I think it's like dumpster. I think is what they're gonna do, the bucket load.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things is, I wonder if the select board might think it worthwhile to offer Mr. Gould something like $250 or $500 in exchange for a quitclaim deed. That's her first recommendation, and then she said the other options are to enter into an agreement with the purchaser, send the notice to Mr. Gould and wait 90 days to close. Or proceed with sending a notice to Mr. Gould knowing that Mr. Gould, especially if he's upset about not receiving any profit from the sale, could challenge the sale if he is supposed to have received notice. Exposure under this option, number 2, is low since the property seems to be no value and the broker commission would not have, not even been part of it.
but isn't technically the building is ours?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm confused to why we need him to sign off on any of this.
It all goes back to that law, and I thought we had done everything as far as like, we'd done the 90 days, we'd sent like 5 or 6 notices out, they all came back, but the lawyer keeps going back to that law about the brokerage, which you weren't gonna sell it, but through a real estate agent, because
Then we're gonna pick that property up.
who's gonna, right.
Right. Huh.
And there was supposed to be, I'm gonna ask her about the actual verbiage of this letter that we're supposed to send, because nowhere have I found this is the, the verbiage that needs to be sent to him.
Is this is the first time we're seeing this, right?
Yes.
This, all this stuff,
This
okay.
tree.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went back and followed all the conversations
I
to get a
see.
good picture on it,
Okay,
where it is so complicated.
okay. Yeah, I would need to read the, they're reading it now, okay.
No, it's just, I mean, I'm highlighting, but I just.
Yeah, yeah.
Just what she said. They're, right here, they're capturing that broker terminology and.
And I also called the water sewer district to make sure the last bill will be coming out soon. And so that's also built into what we are gonna have expended on that building. So I can check with Josh on that as far as taking the building down after April 1st. Considering the situation with Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be,
that's good.
Cause that's the other thing, I mean, we couldn't get a hold of the previous owner through the end of the process. I don't know how they think we're gonna get a hold of him now to do any of this.
I do believe that Jamie has his phone number, but I don't have any address to send him anything, so I can get that phone number from Jamie also. He called once, and that was it, just to find out if he was gonna get anything out of the property.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one and only question, not that he wanted it back, but am I gonna get any money? So,
So when you call him, you say, yeah, if we hurry up and get this process done, there
That's
might be
right.
something left.
That's right.
I mean, we don't know what at this point, but the longer this goes on, the less likelihood he is.
well, that, and you only have $370 left,
Yeah.
out of $4,200 at this point.
well, and that's gets me, how much is left?
$370.
And what's the taxes on the building?
You got it right
They're
here.
about $113 roughly, about right around
Yeah.
$100.
So if the building's still there and the ownership hasn't changed yet,
Well, it's technically ours.
it's,
That's,
right, so we could collect those taxes in April. That would come out of the total.
well, they're there, right there.
No, I mean, the,
Yeah, no, the taxes, when we took the property November 1st.
We wouldn't tax
been-
the
Everything
house.
ceased as far as taxes.
well, the transaction hasn't closed yet. I guess what I'm saying is, wouldn't, if we haven't closed the deal,
Well, that's where I'm confused, because we have, the property's ours. We're trying to sell it to them. And that's why,
okay, so there's nobody owes taxes for April if we still own it.
correct.
Right.
Okay.
That's why I'm still confused of why we need the previous owner to sign off on it quickly.
It's just that, go
If you
ahead.
took the property, the taxes, wouldn't you automatically go down and get a quick claim deed from the registry of deeds, deeding it to the town, and the town would hold the deed?
We usually have never done that in the past, because that process from the time the town gets it,
And gets rid
until
of
we get
it.
rid of it, it's usually just
Sure.
one swipe.
Yeah.
Right, we don't ever get a quitclaim deed in our name, it's just a foreclosure of the.
Oh, we just transfer from one owner to the other.
Correct.
Stay out of the middle.
Right.
Get our money and move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, because typically speaking, this is a 3-month process, it's not a lengthy deal where you would wanna do, you know what I mean, but
Right,
maybe going forward, that might be, we're gonna keep running into things like this, that might be something to look at.
well, then you have another property too that we took, but it was property on Dad's land. So, and I can't remember the man's name, I didn't bring that with me tonight. But I think maybe the best
Start with
option
an H.
there, was that?
Start with an H,
Thanks.
I think so too.
Howard?
Hurt?
Maybe, yes. So the property we took is actually on his father's land. So I think the only way to get around that, because we're not gonna go pick up semi-trailers and move them anywhere, is maybe to see if Hamlin can assess that property on the father's land. I'm not sure how that works.
So is it just the trailer?
Yeah.
It's like trailers and sheds, basically, is what
Oh,
the
yeah.
tech, yeah.
I don't even have the sheds, I mean, the mobile home, I guess I could buy that as a separate tab, but like a shed or a building per se, that should have already been part of the property.
Yeah.
I would have thought, it doesn't really matter whose it is, it's still structured.
Yeah, exactly.
But in a mobile home, that's a little different, I guess, but. Yeah, cause that one is kinda,
Yeah, I haven't finished it back over to that option.
We good on the property?
Are you all set? You're,
Yeah, I'll call and talk to Josh
okay,
and see what we can do there, and I'll give the phone number to Mr. Gould.
that works.
so basically she's saying they're not gonna do the deed transfer unless we do one of these options,
Right,
and that's her opinion.
what she's written right there.
Well, I know that, but when I read it, it says, I wonder if. Well, I don't really, you know what I mean? It should say, you need to do this, this, or this, not,
I wonder.
would you pretty please do,
Right,
you know?
Yeah, these are the two options that the select board has, or this is the three options the select board has.
Right. Well, it starts out the blue one, I wonder if.
Might think
Those aren't really,
decisive.
No, not for an attorney. That's interesting.
I think I would reword the question back and say,
what is the best?
can you
What do
do
you
this?
advise?
Can you do this? And if she says no, what do we have to do for you to do this?
Okay,
And then that way there,
it's,
then you know this is what we have to do, not ifs and maybes and. I just worry with language like that, you get yourself in trouble.
Well,
yeah, well, sure.
Very many back and forth, and there's gonna be any money left.
No,
No, no.
that's the other
It
part.
turns into a loser.
Well, if we can gain taxes in the future.
Okay, old business, B, property maintenance ordinance.
Yes, I have the answer to our question. I have not had a chance to actually write it up. But it has a clause that they have sent me. I don't know if I got a copy of that in your packet. But this is the wording that I need to put on the base of the copy that we did find that has the date that you accepted, which was actually in 2021. You put it out to a meeting of the town. So I have the newest ordinance, and I just need to add that verbiage to the bottom and have you sign it.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we adding? Where does it say? Ah, okay. Oh, okay, I see. Sure.
I just need to type it up on the last page and then bring it back to you for signature.
Okay. Okay. And that's right from the attorney?
Yep,
Tell
that's
them-
right.
Okay,
Yep.
yep. Very good.
New business, warrant work.
We're warrant?
Yes, well,
Oh.
where do we stand? Are there any things that you need to put on the warrant? Do you guys do the warrant and bring it to us? I'm not sure how you work the warrant.
The warrant is pretty much our product.
Okay.
The budgetary part of it is plug and play. I mean, we've got to sit down and go through those obvious items, but in light of, none of us have read this
Right.
latest petition. But I suspect in light of that, we're going to want to get proactive. We're going to want to have other options than
Okay.
just this one option.
Do you want these now, or are we gonna wait?
We don't need this sign, we just want, I would like us to each get a copy of what the question was,
Okay,
okay?
this is, I'll just, there it is. I don't know if that works or not. You can look at it.
You can just email it to
Yeah,
us.
if you can email it to us.
Yep, and then
Because then we will, yeah, then we can,
So, yeah, we'll noodle that, and if we're inclined, we might send it to an attorney for a final review, but we may not, we may say, it looks, but we have to read it first.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But
But-
as far as the article, the warrant, it really follows last year's to the T. The
Yeah.
whole structure, everything it is, even the budgetary, all the lines are gonna stay the same, we're just, when we do the budget side of it, we'll
Plug
put in
in.
the numbers. Plug and play that way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, all the questions are pretty much the same unless we're gonna add maybe something.
Well, we probably will, try again
Gives
on
a
the
couple
congressionally
more.
funded building.
Sure.
We probably will try, there are any number of variables. I guess the way I kinda look at it is if you have a spectrum of, well, like Robinson's, for example. Robinson's is not a great idea, but it's a lot better idea than what is being proposed, in my opinion, than what's being proposed. So, things that you would not have necessarily proposed, you might wanna get them out there because they're the lesser of.
Right.
So,
Well, then I wasn't sure, are we gonna sit all together and do
I think
a
what,
work session, or I just need to understand what we need to do at this point?
yeah,
We really need the budget.
budget first, and we have the meeting scheduled on the 16th with the budget committee?
18.
18th, okay.
18, right.
All right,
Right.
so and actually, we're gonna want to share with them the potential impact of, if that were to pass. I mean, if you deplete your reserves, you're gonna wanna address it.
And just so you guys kinda have the way this process used to work before we all got involved, the select board used to have their own budget meetings, and then the budget committee would have their meetings, and then after the budget committee got done, then the select board would take it over and tweak it and provide it as far as for the warrant. The way we've been kinda doing it, we all meet together, and we work on it together, so there is no hidden agendas, there's no, you know what I mean, whatever we
Okay.
come out of that is pretty well where we're at.
Nearly 10 years ago, when we first started doing this, Dale and I met on the budget committee, and it was there was, at that time, the select board and town manager were essentially, we felt, building buckets of money. And it was kind of adversarial, trying to figure out what did it really cost to do this? And that's kind of what got us started.
Because you were on the budget committee.
Right.
And so you were presented from the select board, the budget they presented.
Correct.
And then you'd have to say, well, how much do they really need?
Right, and it was like pulling teeth, and sometimes they get all
Okay.
excited, like, oh, we tricked them,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, you only cut it that much, good thing.
Yeah,
You know,
with-
because there was fluff, there was so much fluff in it.
Right.
Well, and that's how we have the reserve accounts that we have.
It
I
is a
mean,
big part of it.
That's how that got there, was the budget was just inflated every year, and we had so much carryover that.
And those meetings would go on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Because
Couldn't
it was,
get
it
to the
was
nub of it.
trying to find, when you were on the budget committee,
Oh,
trying to
there was a dozen on
find,
the budget committee, I think then.
yeah. And, since we changed that model where it's basically saying, okay, what did we spend last year? How much do we need this year? And,
What does it actually cost to run the
What
town,
is
and
it-
what do we need to do?
right, there's no hidden numbers. I think we've done it in one night, our
Yeah.
budget.
We're most of the way through.
Honestly, we're.
Oh, good.
It's not adversarial at all anymore.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
So-
No, we
Yep.
truly take the numbers
That
that
you
you provide out
propose
of
and-
Trio.
right.
This is,
This is what
we
it
like to
costs.
see what we budgeted last year, what we truly spent. Now, if you know of things that are coming up, or, you know, if you know that, whatever,
Yeah,
water's
ended up in the
increasing,
wrong
power's
one,
increasing,
or, yeah.
so we know there's gonna be an increase, then that's how we do that, but.
Okay,
You know, if it's a, whatever, a rubber stamp number, this is what we budgeted last year, this is what we spent, this is
Is
what
what
we're
we
gonna do
need.
again. We don't try
We
to
just
fluff it
move to the
or
next one, yep.
try to get any higher, try to keep it as tight as we can to try to,
okay.
you know.
And then those kind of, those other articles, we'll be working on them, and we probably will have a workshop or two, but we've gotta kind of, after we read this, we'll
Right.
strategize
Right.
as to what we're gonna put forward.
Right, so that there's other options.
Yep,
Okay, so I can email that to you.
That would be
tomorrow
great.
morning.
That'd be
Yep.
great, yeah.
Yep.
Um,
and any correspondence that you get that you're gonna wanna share with us in a meeting, it's really helpful if you just send it to us.
Okay.
Because trying to read it in a meeting, then that way if we have a question, we can, what about this, and
Okay.
Right.
so anything that you think you want us to see, send it to us,
Yeah.
anytime.
yeah.
Okay.
It's easier for me to process when I'm at home and then
Yeah,
sitting at a
particularly,
meeting.
sometimes you get people talking and you're
Yeah,
trying to read
yeah,
it.
and, yeah, I'm trying to make a decision when I'm trying to figure out, yeah,
Sure, okay.
So,
I'm a slow reader.
so, yeah, that, I guess that's we have a lot of work to do, and,
Yeah, I just kinda wanted to have like
It is
an
March
idea
6th.
of
Yeah, how
Yeah.
it,
how you
how,
guys
Yeah,
put it
we
together.
yeah,
There's a bunch of great lines on there, lines that are clouded out that have questions on them.
yeah, that's okay. That's, we'll,
item 8, town manager's report.
You,
You're not gonna like me.
you're gonna introduce her.
That's true.
I was waiting, and at least you ought to do it at this line if you haven't done it.
Yeah, well, I should introduce our interim town manager for people that didn't know this. Jeff Libby is in that spot right now, and we're glad to have him, and
Very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
So I got a copy of this for each one of you. I got one on my desk, Michelle has one. Basically, what this is, don't let these numbers scare you. Got looking at your systems. The system we have now is 8 to 9 years old, and we're running, I would say, yellow to go into the red area, where your hard drives are getting to the point where they may fail. And our backup systems, according to S.J. Rollins, are not very good. We have the potential, if there's a fire or anything over there, we're gonna lose all our data, because everything's on one box over there. And so, the computer systems are old, they're all the same, they don't communicate with each other, and there's a lot of stuff in there that people could still get in that aren't here anymore. And so I'll go over the first page. The first page comes up to 6,100 on the bottom. It can take a little bit of out of it, but not very much. That would replace all the systems except for, what's the one on the wall there?
That's a server.
No, the Trio.
Oh,
It
yes.
wouldn't replace the Trio part. We don't have to do that yet. But this would put new new laptops on everybody's desk, and it also put one on the counter. So if Sam's working on a document on her computer, she just goes to the counter and trios up and she enters a registration in. So that would be that number. The second page is where it gets a little bit scary. If you look on the bulk hours, that's to purchase 25 hours of work per unit. Yes, it comes up to $12,000 on the end. That number don't have to be there. That can be moved around. It's just one way to look at it. So each unit would have a dedicated prepaid 25 hours to it. And whatever they had to do for work, either in-house or remotely, it comes off that total. Or you go down to the bottom line, which covers some of the stuff that's up on the top, and that's your preventive maintenance at $960 for everything. So there's a couple different ways to look at it. It is scary, it's a scary number, but there is things under there that tells you what it does.
So Jeff, are these two different things, one-time cost, and then in addition a monthly cost? Or you do one or the other?
So you will do one or the other. You buy the
I see.
bulk, and that if it takes you the whole year to use up 25 hours on that one unit, then it takes the whole year. He says it takes about 4 hours to get one set up, transfer all the data. Now it goes on to hard integrated instead of the disk.
It's all cloud-based.
Is it cloud-based? In other words, is our data stored
In the cloud?
That's on the next page.
Okay, all right. Don't take away
And
my,
is that 25 hours, is that per year?
Per
Per
unit.
unit.
Per
Per
unit,
unit.
so it
So
could
you-
take 3 years to use up that
That's
service
correct.
agreement.
That's
Or-
correct.
I see, okay.
So if you go on to the third page, this is all your security and your software. Automated patch and monitor desktop service, that's the price. He recommends that we have that. That adds some security with our software and it helps everything communicate together. Right now, the laptops don't communicate together very good. One can't hook to the other and it's a problem at
Clunky.
times. Your Cisco, your web filter, that's just security there too. It's not needed. The big one is the Microsoft 365 Business. Right now we have Microsoft 360, so that would go away. You wouldn't pay that subscription every year, but you would pay for this subscription. Typically, he said it's about $75 per unit. And that gives you all kinds of things. That gives you your storage, that gives you your backup capabilities, and all the, a bunch of firewalls and stuff. That does all that. And then you got your backups, which are the next three, all the VMs. Those are all your backups, your redundant systems, so your data, Sam won't have to plug a chip in every night and have that pen drive get, something wrong with it. Now you lost all your data that was on there. So now you've got a whole day, you've got to go try to make all that up. So it's very vulnerable. He did ask where we learned that. It's just been something that's been passed down to put everything on a pen drive. This would eliminate that, because he likes 3 layers of protection. It's just 3 layers of protection here. So this whole page is $220 or less a month for all that protection. And then you got some more network security on the back. You can read what it says. He recommends the second one down. The third one is not needed. And the last one on that page is something for you to think about. There's no security in there. So if somebody should come in and do something within the office area, we have no tape to protect anybody. We don't have to do this, but it's something to think about in the future. That somebody broke in, whatnot, we have nothing there for people. So
This is all, honestly, Jeff, this is the direction, what we were hoping for if we could do the new town office.
The new town office.
When we enroll that all into that
we
one,
wanted a meeting room with monitors, so
Yep.
people could
Zoom.
see
read
what we
all
were
the
seeing.
paper,
Yeah.
everything, we
go
could go back and
paperless.
forth.
Yeah.
Digital sign up front, so
Yep.
you could put up, meeting, event, whatever, all of that.
Yep.
And that was all gonna be bundled into that.
In, all of it bundled in.
And this is S.J. Rollins, we use them at the sanitary district and the water district. They're very good, they're very thorough. A lot of stuff can be done off-site, they can
For them to
ready
fix.
to you.
Yeah.
He is gonna do some corrections on emails, cause there's a whole bunch of stuff out there, a whole bunch of different emails under our names, and go try to condense that. And there's another part in here that's in one of those columns, that's password protection. All those passwords go in there and all get protected. So now there's a book, and if you can figure it out and get through there, nothing's shut off, everything's live over there all the time.
Right.
So that's one thing I should say, but.
I'm guessing this is, I mean, my first reaction is, you know, you'd wanna wait until you build your new building, but I'm assuming this is all, you're gonna have a
Right.
fee to move it, but it's all portable.
Yeah, this is all portable, yes.
Yeah.
And, it might be something you wanna put into this year's budget, I don't know. But it's needed to, it hasn't been done in a long time.
Well, getting back to what you were saying about online registrations and that level of technology, we
And
probably.
security and all that.
I understood, because at one point you did offer that. And then I understand that maybe somebody in the office didn't care for trying to get those taken
Correct.
care of, which is why the program went away.
Correct.
But
It was cumbersome for some reason, or?
I just don't think, I
I thought it might have been
don't think
that,
the past staff was computer oriented enough to know how to keep up with that level of technology.
And maybe in part because our system is,
100%.
doesn't communicate
Yeah.
well, it's
Yeah, that-
clunky to begin with, so.
Yeah, that
Whereas
could
if,
be.
if you were updated, that process might be easier.
right.
Yeah.
And Sam's very good. She would be very capable of taking care of that process.
So this is a topic for budget.
This, yeah, and
Right,
this,
because-
this is why we save our shekels.
Yes,
This
exactly.
is why we save our money in the town, so that we can afford to do things that are like this.
And I like the idea of a camera.
Yes, I do too.
Yep. I would.
Me and
yeah.
Mike have only asked for this for 4 years. I mean, cause about a different IT setup and getting everything so it communicates and getting it into the cloud and,
Well, we had Glenn
This stuff
come
goes
this
to,
week.
doesn't go to the cloud, it goes to something else.
well, your storage is.
But it's the same
Same
idea.
idea.
It's a server
Same
farm
goes
somewhere.
with
Yeah.
your stuff.
Yep.
Right, right,
And,
right.
The only thing that I would, not a question, but something to check out, with the upgrades that Trio keeps saying that where we need to go to, what does that mean as far as for hardware and how all that, you know what I mean? If we're gonna do something like this, I just wanna make sure that we would be anticipating that upgrade coming, so everything still worked the way we.
That upgrade is only gonna happen if you are a web-based Trio. The Trio that we have now is called Surge, and we're not gonna get any updates. If it breaks, they're not gonna fix it.
But that is the upgrade, is we need to move
We
to
need
the
to
web.
move to web.
The
So-
trio you have
Do we,
now,
do we know what that would cost?
No,
We'll
I've
look
got
at
an
that.
email
Okay.
to,
we're gonna
with,
email out, because the
Yeah.
trio you have now is only good for one more year. After this year,
Right, so these might dovetail perfectly.
we didn't put trio in here, because that's more of an expensive item.
But I think we need to, because.
Right.
It's going anyway.
That we have to get to that.
It's
And-
all
But I
gotta
think
be
we
up.
may have to do this to support that.
What he thought was this first, and next year, go into getting the new box for trio, because everything in trio right now is in that box. And this.
And the box goes away, it's all gonna be cloud-based
right,
in the future,
Yeah.
which is the way you want it.
which would allow, right now, Sam has to go over and log into that computer in the corner. If we go to web-based, which lets them come into our system, if we go web-based, they wouldn't have to do that anymore.
Right,
Any
I mean, and you
computer
could do it
anywhere.
anywhere,
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, you could work from home tomorrow and have Trio.
Yeah, if we have a bad storm, you literally would have trio at home.
Yep.
I can walk.
I don't know, I think it would be interesting to get the number for all of it. and
Yeah, I
see what
think
the-
so. I
The
think
entire
so.
package,
Well,
because it's,
I think those are important numbers,
I do too.
especially now.
Well, and this gentleman also discovered, he sent an email later this afternoon, that he was trying to send stuff to us,
And
and
he
there's a
couldn't.
problem with our webpage. The emails on there's something that's messing them up, so they're not getting to us.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
so
So-
the other thing that we've always talked about too, though, is like you said, the emails and the passwords. We should have town emails.
Yes.
And then every time there's a new board, you actually change the password, but it stays that same email, so
That's
the
fine,
next
that's
select
just
board
what we'll do
keeps
for
that,
you.
all that history.
That is definitely the way it should be.
That's right. We talked about that a long time ago. So this is timely.
So the front page is accurate, the second page is a little scary with the labor numbers.
Yep.
But everything,
Yep.
everything else is a set number.
And I know that the quote says just one computer at the counter. Ideally, if we were to, wherever we go, and that, it would really be best if we had 2 stations, because if Sam gets backed up, I can't help.
You can't help.
Correct.
Right, yep,
So that's just
Yep.
looking forward, and Jeff had also talked about having 2 monitors on our computers, on our desks. So that if we need to be doing something over here, like town report, and then, we need to
I
be
can't even
taxes.
imagine not having 2. I've had 2 for so long.
It's just for the
I
girls.
can, but it's this big. I have a 32-inch TV for a month.
That way there you have to sign up, she wants to look up tax information.
Yeah,
it goes
yeah.
up.
Yeah, she's got to
Yeah,
go
it's
out.
Log
go
back
back.
in, log in, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah.
It's time,
But I wonder-
this is what we need to spend our money on. to
But I
get
also
so that
wonder though, is
you
it
can work
possible to do
properly.
a screen share? So instead of Sam putting 2 computers up there, could Sam's computer share screen and have 2 keyboards, so it's still off of one computer?
I
Since-
don't think she has enough room for 2 keyboards.
No, I'm saying, like, up at the workstation, at
Oh,
the
okay.
counter, you would have the monitor and a keyboard, and that would go back to the laptop.
You can do that. You can do that.
But what she's saying
I'm
is
not sure.
2 people standing at the counter, like if Sam gets backed up.
Sure, do the same thing.
Oh, well, okay, whatever.
You could have a screen share on the counter with the keyboard, goes back to her laptop.
The wireless keyboard is really all it is. yeah.
Oh, I see. All right,
He said
well,
it's all totally integrated.
Yep.
So everybody can communicate with everybody without leaving their desk or whatnot. So he says it's an efficiency thing, he said.
Oh, 100%.
But definitely is something to
yep,
consider.
yep, yes.
So the next item I have is Bruce McNaughton. I don't know if you guys saw the legal letter that got sent.
Nope, nope.
I pass it around.
Now, okay, now, I mean, I apologize, but there is no way that I'm gonna be able to read this.
No, that-
And process this.
So basically what it is, well, it's
I apologize.
I can
Yeah, you,
dumb it down. It's a letter from the lawyer that's stating, I can't remember what the gentleman's name is, it's in there, that he's bought both sides of the
Oh,
road.
Mr. Kenny.
Mr. Kenny.
Yes,
Yep.
Mr. Kenny has bought both sides of the road, and where the town has discontinued some in winter maintenance, he thinks we have given up our rights to the land, so we have no access to the land, nor does the public. Our deed that was deeded states that we have access, and so does the public. That was part of the land transfer from the government. I've talked to some people that have dealt with this before, and at no way did the town give up its rights when they decided not to do maintenance on the road. So, next town over, same thing, you can go into the government land, there's people that own land on both sides, but the town still has access to their land. There is or may not be a gate up there, because that was one of the things that was brought up.
There is.
Can he
There
legally gate
is,
the
or there has been.
Can he gate the road? So,
That's an old letter.
Because that's really
It's
the,
back from October.
yeah. So what the,
So why is this coming up again? Because we dealt with this in the fall.
because we just got this letter,
that one?
and Patrick was working on it, and it never got completed.
Well, that letter was dated October.
Yes, and it never got completed. There was a email sent to the forestry department, I don't know why we went to forestry with it, but it was an email sent to forestry department, that's what got me onto this, because I saw a response back from the forestry department, we'd be willing to meet with you and talk to you about land, blah, blah, blah. But, Patrick was worried about, you read the wordage in this that says if we don't have access, we have to give it back to the government, that's not true. So, it comes down to what do we want to do with the road now? Do we want to pursue the gate being up there, not being up there? And there's some public people that have stated they've always hunted it, and why can't we have access where it's town property in a town?
but we really haven't had any, to my knowledge, town citizens question it. other than Bruce, right?
Yeah, just Bruce and his brother, who's not a resident.
Correct. But the bigger thing and where this all come to be was at the time of all of this, both sides of those roads were owned by separate people. Now Mr. Kinney owns both sides. And due to the timing of when all of this happened, that means that right of way, that all went back to the landowner.
Yep.
So that would end our access.
Yep.
But because of the yearing of it.
Yep. I've been assured that it does not end our access.
No, they would argue that we have access through other way. I suspect if you were to challenge him, that's, the argument in court is gonna be, here's how we think you should get there, and we're saying, well, we think we should go this way. And you're gonna spend a bunch of money fighting over which way you come in.
So what we had asked Patrick about was, and I can't remember. the
Well, it was
government
kind of that
agency-
question.
It wasn't forestry, it was the government agency that handled this property.
Right, but I think the US Forestry might be a division of this entity. That's maybe how they got involved. But yeah, I guess we were speculating if we didn't have access, would they come and basically say, we're gonna take the land away from us? And you don't believe that that's where they're headed with this?
No,
They're just gonna let it sit there.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, and our bigger thing too was going to them, they deal with this all over the country. If they may already know how to get this resolved the right way, so to get their involvement, that would help us to get this all right.
Because we're not allowed to sell it.
No,
Yeah, we're not allowed to do anything with it.
no.
So it's kind of a weird situation. He didn't say this, but Mr. Kenny did come to a meeting, and I got the impression that if we wanted to log it or something like that, he would work with the town.
Yep.
He just didn't want people in there leaving trash. He's invested in a lot of buildings, and he wants to know who's coming and going.
Correct, and what he said, in this letter, it states that they put, signs up, but people don't.
They don't respect this.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And it sounded like initially, anyway, that the other landowners, like, some of the farmers in that area that had fields, he was working with them so that they could hay their fields and do their business.
Chris has an easement to go hay his fields. And, so for the town, it's just a question of where do you wanna go with this?
Yeah, do you wanna fight over it or not, basically? And so far, we hadn't, like Dale said, it was one person. So we hadn't really thought we'd expend much legal on it at this point.
So in the town's deed, does it have the published right-of-way in our deed for that land?
This is the deed right here from 1955.
I think we had that way back when we were.
Yeah,
we did.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, cause that's.
It is
interesting.
very
'Cause-
unclear.
Yeah, because if you have a deeded right-of-way to your land,
It's an unusual situation because it's public means everybody,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't just say Sangerville
Yeah.
residents.
yeah.
No,
And-
it says, this conveyance is also made subject to conditions that the above described land shall be used for public purposes.
I can see why.
Whereas if you just owned that land,
Right.
you would still because you had access for the last 25 years. You have presumptive easement.
Because I'm thinking of my situation, because I own both sides of it, but the camp owners beyond me have a deeded right-of-way.
But they had a deeded, don't even. But they had that deeded right away the whole time that you owned both sides of that land.
Yeah, they owned it before I owned both sides of the land.
Right.
Right.
And there are provisions where even if you don't have a deeded access, if you have used a right of way
Yeah,
for
yep,
20 years,
Like
you have a
yep.
presumptive easement.
exactly.
That's really.
But it might not even be transferable.
No,
Correct.
that's right.
But this is different because it's the public, so I don't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's different because of the year that all of this transpired, as far as discontinuing that road.
Right.
That's the bigger problem.
So,
Yeah, I think,
I don't know.
I don't see us right now putting money in the budget to litigate this,
No.
at least at this
Only thing I would
point.
do is possibly have a conversation with him and say, hey, if we decided to go in there, can we?
He intimated that anyway. He said
Okay.
if the town had a reason, we didn't specifically say logging, but I can't think of what
Yep.
else we go in there for.
Yep.
He said I would work with the town.
But he's very clear, he's not gonna allow 500 people a day to
Yeah.
drive down that road through his property.
No, he was pretty clear on that.
Yeah, I'm saying 500, he didn't say that, but he's not gonna let.
Right, the public.
Even 50.
The public,
Yeah,
yeah, no.
That's fine.
Okay.
Heating and fuel contracts, do you guys do heating and fuel contracts? Like the fire department, do you go to Robinsons and get a contract with Robinsons to get fuel at a reduced price? Or do you pay pump
we
price?
have reached out to him in the past, especially when we was in that building. I'm not sure if they did last year or not.
Yeah, now we don't, because heat, utilities are included in the rent, so we're not buying nearly the oil we were when we were in the old building. You got this building and the trucks,
Right.
and the tank up there, that's Chris's, right?
Yeah.
So,
All you got is this building, but yeah, if you think you can do something.
yeah, whatever our total volume is, if it's worth negotiating, we should.
$3.80 a gallon versus 4 something.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'll find out.
25 cents, 20 cents?
And I know,
All adds up.
we talked about it many times, but I know there's I don't know how it works, maybe you know, Michelle, but the town and the school district, you're supposedly be able to work back and forth and get that same
Same Yep.
rate.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if
Takes
anybody.
care of the excise. And-
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
Let Michelle speak to this animal welfare.
Yes, so we had, an officer, they did a drug bust on 23. And I got a call from the sheriff's office that we had a bunch of animals that we needed to take care of. Since we didn't have an animal control officer, I called Mike. Because it falls back to the first selectman. So we have, Joe Guyot, I called him. He came by, he said that he would take care of the animals, wanted to know if you would appoint him at this time. I did the appointment for you to sign tonight if you choose, to go until our town meeting. And then we'll go from there for the next step. So
Sounds good.
he did take care of the ducks, the homing pigeons, and the chickens.
Oh my gosh.
And I was not going to do that.
He had a big pot of soup.
Just the top one, Mike.
Okay, so, I make a motion that we appoint Joe Guyot to the term that Michelle just described.
Second?
All in favor? It passes. Road Commissioners report.
Nope, I'm still going.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm looking into the hydrant protection fee, because if the valuation of the town goes up, so does the hydrant protection fee. So
Oh.
we're trying to put that in the line number of the budget. If not, I'll build in a number.
Because our valuation is going to go up.
It is, because you're being revalued this year.
Right,
Correct.
right.
So that's
So we
gonna
know that,
change.
right?
didn't know that
Yeah.
piece.
So I did not realize that.
Yeah, hydrant protection is based on the valuation of the town.
It's just, it's cascading.
I know. Right, that's why you save your money. And, because bills that you have no control over.
It's cascading.
Huh, wow. All right.
Paving, did you guys have anything in mind? Did you have something set in stone you wanted to pave this year?
Yes, the Silver Mills Road, but in light of everything that's, we have to deal with the logistics of a possible $440,000 drain. And I don't know, that's gonna be a great conversation with the budget committee, is how much, cause typically, we would tax for maybe half of that project and then pull for the other half. The other thing these people don't totally appreciate is, there's about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of income that you lose once you deplete that bucket of money. That, for Sangerville, that's like $1/3 every year.
Yeah.
I mean, that puts a pretty good dent in your fire department budget. and
Yep.
You just lose it.
It just goes away.
So
But-
anyway,
I mean, typically speaking, whenever we do, not a petition per se, but whatever we do for anything non-budget related is always at the end. We need to conduct the business of the town and we follow our
Yep.
articles all the way to the end. So I don't see it to be any different, whether, we're gonna have to work with the budget committee, we're gonna come up with our recommendations for paving and this is what it's gonna cost. It'll all be line items for the town meeting.
but historically, we might say, we're gonna do $200,000 worth of paving, I'm just picking a number. 100 of that we'll raise through taxation, and another 100 we'll take out of, the general reserve, however you wanna phrase it. If we knew for sure that there was a chance, well, there is, if there's a chance that they're gonna deplete that by 440, we might not do a $200,000 worth of paving. We may only do 100 and raise it through taxation, so I'm not sure, and maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that's honestly, that's one question I think we have to have for the attorney, because everybody's under the assumption that right now we can conduct the town's business and we're gonna have whatever $400,000 left over. That may not be the case.
That's true, it depends on what you spend in your budget.
Sure, so if you go down through your budget and whether you're gonna pull it or you're gonna tax from it, that is my question about this or another petition, or, you know, if somebody comes in wants to buy $50,000 worth of lottery tickets, and we don't have a safe net in that money left, what does that mean?
I think at that point, you would be required to raise money through taxation. In other words, you've gotta have enough reserves to run the town. And you can't walk away from those responsibilities even though you were brought to that situation under duress, really. You didn't want to buy, you know, the
Sure.
lottery tickets, right? But if it passes, you've got to buy them.
Do you?
I talked to the MMA attorney and she said, you do.
But if this is me, no, this is the only my thought. If I sign a petition or that says that I'm gonna take $50,000 to buy lottery tickets out of reserve, there isn't $50,000 there. Now you're changing it because you have an article that's of no cost to the citizens. If you don't have the money and it turns into a taxation, you've now increased that cost.
I agree with that, but the problem is we have the money. There's no way you're gonna put yourself in a position where you couldn't cover the 440. But, once the 440's gone,
There's other things you can't do,
yeah, you're definitely,
tightening your belt
You're
with
gonna have-
everything else.
I'm looking at it the other way. The town business is first. If we wanna do $300,000 worth of paving and it gets approved,
you could do $1 million worth of paving. And then raise your reserves again in taxation. You could do that. I think the auditor would be the one to ask, but I think town of Sangerville, probably $500,000 is a little heavy, but that's about where you wanna be, in terms of running your town.
They say 3 months.
Okay.
Whatever of bills.
Okay.
That's what they usually tell you.
And a lot of towns around us struggle, cause they don't have much.
but I mean, last year, if we would've done the paving we would've had, we'd be at $600,000.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think one point that kinda gets lost is the 400,000 that we proposed to spend on the building, we didn't anticipate it was gonna be outgoing, it was gonna come back.
Right.
Maybe in 6 months or a year, but that money was pretty much, you know, a lead pipe.
Right,
So it wasn't gonna deplete the reserves, we were just using them to get the access to the money. So that's very, very different than what's being tossed around right now.
right.
My recommendation on paving would be hold this year, plan what you wanna do, we can get some costs, and you pave right after springtime. Because if you wait and they come late in fall, you don't get the compaction in your road, and you get pushed off later and later and later.
It's always been the goal to do exactly what you've described, we just can never get prepped in time.
Yeah.
It's October and we're still battling,
Right.
is it ready? No, it's not quite ready.
Yeah.
So if we can get ready, that's definitely the time to do it.
Get it all ready and then ready
Yeah.
for next spring,
Yeah,
be first on the list, like
Think
the
about what we
paver.
wanna do, and then find a way to accomplish what we wanna do.
but is it fair to
Yes.
say that the
Silver-
Silver Mills Road
yeah.
has been, this will be its 3rd year? So,
And some of that could just be overlay, you don't have to do any prep work, because you got a bad culvert or something, so there's different.
most of the color
methods.
work's done, isn't it?
Yes. They are done, actually, and they're holding good, they held good through the winter.
Yeah.
the other end, and again, this is the problem, you're gonna, Sangerville, our roads are, other than French's Mills isn't a bad road, that's an old county road, that's actually got a base to it, somewhat, but there is no base in Silver's Mills. We actually had a problem because we was gonna grind one year and you couldn't because the rocks were all so close to the top.
Fieldstone in the middle of the road.
There's no way they could grind it. So that's why we did what we did on the portion that we did do,
Right.
we lifted the whole thing up, so now it does have.
You had to
base.
do something there, cause it was in the swamp.
But, you know, that next piece that, once you go past my place, you got that one part, that needs to be rose, cause that's all, you know, so I mean, that was a lift in there. Going back towards town where the ramp is now, I think the lift, the intent was to take it to about past Irvin's old driveway, so when you go down to the culvert dip,
Yeah.
it kinda smoothed itself out like right there. But from there up, there wasn't really much work needed to be done.
Right.
Brockway to 23. How far is that? Your house to 23.
My house to Irving's driveway is 1.2 miles. That much I can tell you, because I walked the heck out of that when I had COVID.
So, but it's gotta be 3 miles?
It's about 3 miles.
Yeah.
I think it's close to 3.
We got 3 miles that needs to be done.
And we got about a mile of it that's done. So it's roughly 2 more.
Road equipment insurance, do we have any road equipment kicking around?
There's an old rake up there that we own, I
We
think.
talked about selling.
Yep, whether we probably should.
That's another one of those things we brought up every year, why are we paying this?
Yeah, the insurance.
It's coming off, it's gonna come off that line.
Yeah,
Good, take it off.
Why put money in the line item?
we couldn't get an answer as to why we couldn't get rid of it.
They said we couldn't get rid of it last year because we already started the year out and it had to carry forward for the remainder of the
Okay,
year.
we'll take care of that. Who does the flags?
Fire department.
Fire department does it.
Perfect. I'm done now.
Well,
I'm not, I got one more thing for you.
you're not on the list.
Yeah.
These are letters that I discovered, needed to be done. I sent them out to Hamlin to have them redone, so we have new dates. Anyone who is not compliant for tree growth, they have a management plan every 10 years, the 10 years is up. These people, need to have certified letters, so if the board would sign these.
All of them?
Yep, and I will certify mail them tomorrow, and get that taken care of for us.
We're working on ours right now.
I did write to you, I did have, if you guys would take that and read that at some point in time, because that would have to be on the articles. And I
Yeah, we
suggest,
talked about
I
this.
suggest you ought to go to some type of fire recovery. This is what it would look like. So, you're one, welcome, take that, read its thoughts. So,
We'll get these afterwards.
Does Guilford do this?
yes,
They do.
yes.
Do all the neighboring, all of our neighboring towns.
Right, and, just really quickly, Dale goes down the road, he gets in an accident, slippery roads goes off the road, he would never get a bill. But if Dale goes down the road, he's had extreme amount of alcohol, that we shouldn't have been there, so then you put that in for fire recovery. Cause people have always said, well, geez, you're already paying the fire department, now you're gonna wanna make more money on it. We're already paying the fire department, so it doesn't affect the residents of Sangerville. So,
And that's
Yeah.
kinda,
Yeah.
I've always been one of the ones that's probably the biggest against all of this. And it's only because every time this has come up before, we hear, okay, the residents of Sangerville aren't gonna get covered. We're only gonna go after a big business, or we're not gonna.
We're not going after grandma who's visiting her son in Greenville.
Right, your grandma lives in
Had too
Portland, but
many
she's coming to
markets.
visit you,
Yeah,
but she's related to you, so she's not gonna be covered.
Yeah, and then it just got like a slippery slope, you know?
Yeah,
It
she
felt-
just had an accident, she didn't do nothing wrong.
No, but I'm just saying, in the past, it was more about incident
Right.
as a
Right.
whole for recovery, nothing to do with strictly the alcohol
And
side.
you put two people in charge,
So,
could be the town manager,
mhm.
so somebody doesn't have a vengeance against somebody, I'm charging them.
Right.
Really shouldn't have, so we should
Right.
have a check and a balance there.
And then the town gets in the billing business, right? I mean, obviously, we,
Nope.
no?
You fill out a form
Oh,
online, you send it
insurance.
in,
Oh,
and
insurance.
it's out of your hands.
Oh.
So is this basically, and just strictly as an OUI situation?
Nope.
Okay, so it can be.
Commercial, any
Could be a
commercial accident.
CDL accident could get you from 3,000 to 7,000 bucks, depending on how much resources you use. But your resource now is getting pulled in so many different directions, that, you know, the mutual aid pulling left, pulling right, I mean, and this little town is really supporting the surrounding, and that's hard on a fire department, I mean, you're using up your resource.
Yeah.
So, is it the address, is it the municipality that it occurs in gets the bill, even though you go?
You can't go to Dover and file a claim.
Right, even though you might have been there helping.
Correct.
But Jeff, how do you discern between so we get mutual aid, let's say from Dover, for this big CDL accident. So we make all the money and we don't share it with Dover?
That's correct, you put your hours down for your fire department, your engine,
And,
your
and
personnel, that's how it's based on.
so there's no, it's always been, just felt like a slippery slope. Every time we've talked about
It was
it.
worded in a way that we were
Yeah.
picking and choosing.
Picking and choosing
Right.
exactly
And that's
who we
where
wanted
we,
to bill. And it
Okay.
just didn't seem equitable. I mean, how can you do that? You know,
Yeah.
end up in court. Well, why'd you bill this one and didn't bill that one?
Yeah,
So,
that's why you gotta have your check and balances, but everybody around you's doing it.
right. And then
And
the
then I
question
got that.
is, where does the money go?
Back in the general fund.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I knew the law on that one.
Yeah, I know, but I was just asking to see what you, what Jeff, where Jeff sat on that fence.
So the only thing I have on the road commissioner report, which I should have said, asked about the paving, is we had one snowplow bid.
Oh.
That's the only bid.
Any bids like this, you can go ahead and open them up.
Yeah.
Well in advance,
Yeah.
because sometimes you might, depending on the project, you might have a dozen. And we just soon
Right.
you vetted them all, and then we look at them together.
Now, Chris did say he wasn't gonna bid.
Says that over here.
Well, he fibbed.
But I did have a good conversation with him, I like how he's, doing the sand pile, I like how he treats, I don't know what the comments are in the town, but, I think he's doing what he's done.
As far as my dirt road, I mean, it's great, and I know dirt roads are tricky, and it's great. I mean, it's really muddy right now, but that's not because of him. You know, it thaws out right, you know, it's never that glare ice that can happen. It does a great job.
But that could happen 5 minutes after he goes by, and
Yeah.
somebody call, my road's slippery, well, he just sanded it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
Yeah,
the weather.
it's tough. But he does a good job on it. I think Clinton does it, actually.
Clint's doing it in town, I think.
Yeah. So the 1 year, yeah?
I can't remember what exact details of what we are on right now. I'm just curious.
I
about-
have it at home, but I don't have it
Yeah,
with me.
it'd be nice to just compare the fuel and
Yep, we will.
fuel adjustment and things like that.
Okay.
but That's not bad.
So we'll just.
You can table it for
Table
now.
it, table
Yep,
it.
it's kind of part of the budget process anyway.
Yeah.
Sure, okay,
100% part of the budget.
yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna take a picture of this, is that okay?
So,
Yeah.
you accepting the bid?
Nope.
No, we're gonna just
We're gonna table it.
through the budget process, that's all.
We'll put that to bed before the end of the month.
Yeah, that's the bill for the fire department lights on the fire truck.
What bill?
They had an accident. And clean the lights off the top of the fire truck.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know about that?
Yeah, we knew there was an accident, I knew there was supposed to be getting an estimate.
They had the work completed.
Okay.
Has anything been submitted to the insurance that we even know if, because I didn't even know if there was actually an accident report to be filed with the insurance company.
You don't know that?
I do not know that. The only thing that, Matt came and asked me what the phone number was to MMA, and he was talking to Patrick, so I don't know where it went from there.
With regard to,
The fire truck.
And
oh,
billing
That was-
insurance,
Right.
or submitting it through insurance. Who would do that? Would you do that if, let's say, typically, or would somebody like the secretary of the fire department do that billing?
That would be out of our office.
Oh.
We
yeah,
don't
you
have
guys
nothing.
do everything.
Right, everything comes through us.
Right.
Okay, so you would have been doing it,
She should have had a PO.
I was saying,
Right. Oh,
that's
yeah.
where I was going.
yeah.
Did somebody issue him a PO to buy this equipment?
Not that I'm aware of.
So here's my issue, is I don't mind getting something fixed, but you should have had a couple estimates. I don't know where him and Patrick were on this, but you should have at least a couple of estimates. The town office should have been dealing with the insurance company. Now, we got them that have the insurance company's name, they got our policies, that stuff shouldn't go out of the office. We should retain all that pertinent information.
And that was the understanding?
In-house.
That's what we discussed here at a meeting, and that's how it was supposed to work.
You know, and I want to know that what we're hiring is a competent source, you know. So, anyway, the lights got fixed, I called the insurance company, we're gonna turn that in. We do have another bill, which I told Matt, we can't spend any money without a PO, this one's for $478.72, because while the guy was there doing the lights, he hadn't fixed the brake lights on another truck. I understand the theory of we need to have brake lights, but he should have given us a call for spending $400 and some odd dollars. So I told him, you gotta go through us on the spending, so I told Michelle, hold this to the end of the month.
Now,
30 days.
is the repair of the light bar in this and what we signed tonight?
No.
It's not. How much was that bill for?
This one is $5,347.60.
That's about double what they thought it was gonna be, isn't it?
And you still got a dent in the truck. So
That was quite an accident.
I gotta call the insurance tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
let
again,
me,
we questioned if we had an accident report and everything.
do you know if we had an accident report?
Because
We
our,
didn't, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Oh,
because our understanding is this actually happened returning from a call.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a situation,
yeah, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
you know, it should have been traveling at
Yeah.
a ridiculously safe, I mean, it was like a hurricane, so I mean, you'd be creeping.
I just think you need some different, it is what it is. Do I
It's
like it?
expensive
No, I
what
don't
it
like
is.
it, but,
Well, I guess
We
the
can have a
frustrating is, we
process.
have a process,
That's
we
right.
have protocols.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be not being
Followed.
adhered to
Right.
at all.
so I did contact the gentleman, I says, there's no authorization to do this work. And, well, I thought there was insurance claim, I says, no authorization from this office to do this work. And, so, anyway, he's probably nervous when I'm gonna pay him.
Have we reached out to the insurance company now?
She has the initial, or she will have the initial $4,000 bill for the light. She does not have, the other one, that's on us.
This one here.
The $400 one's on us.
Right. This one here,
Right.
5,000.
Right.
But I suspect the insurance company is gonna want an accident report.
Yeah, her and Matt were talking, and I'd rather it's the town office and the
yeah,
insurance
Matt,
company
the
talking.
fire chief
Yeah,
should be
he's,
doing that.
yeah, no, it's.
Right.
So,
And actually, that's what the fire department ordinance basically states.
That the town manager.
Anything to do with any of that, all falls through the town manager, which, I mean, you to the town clerk, that's,
Right.
but the verbiage is, everything is supposed to flow.
right,
Through the town.
To the town manager is the overseer.
It's really no different than the road commissioner.
right.
Everything flows through that road commissioner, and this, the fire department's the same way.
Yeah.
And that's for anything. I mean, he's not supposed to buy anything unless it comes through you and you give him a PO and then it can be ordered.
And that's not new.
No, that's been that way now for a couple of years.
You had a question?
Do you have PO forms that need to be filled out?
I don't-
Do you-
Good question.
We wouldn't have made
we-
them, but,
No, that's a
yeah.
good question, Michelle.
But we should
It's
have.
It's a totally valid question. We've been talking about it for over a year.
Yep.
2 years,
2 years.
right. So you'd think there were, but
I haven't found any.
yeah. Now, oh, okay. Oh. Oh. That's right.
I was gonna talk about that in executive session.
Oh,
Okay,
do you wanna call, okay, got it.
I'm gonna take a second.
So, Jeff, you're gonna bring the rest, I'll leave this and you can grab the rest of the stuff to bring back to the office tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Okay.
all right, I make a motion, we go into executive session under 1 MRSA 405A.
I'm just going back. You go talk
Yeah.
away.
Second, we're now in executive session. All right, it's 6:23, make a motion that we come back into session.
Second.
No action taken, motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.